Sometimes in football you're just one big decision away from getting your big break, and today we want to look at some players who made big decisions early on in their careers and went on to benefit hugely from it. Here are 10 footballers who became successful after changing their position. First of all, we have Victor Osimhen. The Nigerian centre-forward is one of the best strikers in the world right now, but would you believe that he started out as a goalkeeper? Yes, he did. The man himself revealed in an interview that he was first a goalkeeper and then a defender.
I was actually a defender. I was a defender. I actually was a goalkeeper.
Before eventually being moved into the centre-forward position, where he has enjoyed so much success. Once he changed positions, it didn't take long to become a star. Wolfsburg signed him and brought him to Europe, and the rest, as they say, is history. But while Osimhen went from goalkeeper to outfield player, Thibaut Courtois did the reverse. The Belgian stopper started out as a left-back at his local club Bilsen VV, where he started his career. But he moved to Genk in 1999, and it was there that he was converted to a keeper. And considering he has gone on to win the World Cup Golden Glove, Premier League Golden Glove, and the La Liga Goalkeeper of the Season, you have to say that that was the best decision ever. But what if we told you that Courtois was not the only World Cup Golden Glove winner who started out as an outfield player? Can you guess who the other person is? Give it a shot in the comments. We'll see if you're correct later in the video. Right now, let's look at Courtois' former teammate Gareth Bale. What makes this one really interesting is that we all saw it happen. When Bale was at Southampton, he was a left back. When he moved to Spurs in 2007, he was still a left back. But in 2010, Harry Redknapp started pushing him further up the pitch because Benoit Asuakoto, also a left back, was in great form. But Bale seemed to stamp his place as a winger in October 2010 when he put up memorable performances in the Champions League against defending champions Inter Milan. He scored a hat-trick in the first leg and provided 2 assists in the second. In both games, he flew forward very often and was super comfortable in the final third. From then, Bale began to play as a winger, and boy, did he succeed. But while Bale went from back to front, Alphonso Davies went from front to back. When Bayern Munich signed him in 2018, they signed him as a forward player, but then in the 2019-20 season, the then coach of Bayern, Niko Kovac, moved him to left back because of injuries to Niklas Süle and Lucas Hernandez. The coach played Alaba at centre back and then moved Davies to left back, and the kid was a revelation in that position. On the 5th of February 2020, Alphonso Davies put up an incredible performance as a left-back in the Champions League round of 16 game against Chelsea, and that was what announced him to the world. In his first season playing in that position, Davies helped Bayern win the Champions League and finished as runner-up in the Champions League Defender of the Season. But this next guy finished as Champions League Defender of the Season in the 2018-19 season. Of course, we're talking about none other than Virgil van Dijk, and yes, even he didn't start out as a centre-back. He started out as a right-back and played in that position until 2008 when he was 17 years old. The lad sprang up in height, so he was deemed to be better suited in the centre-back position, so he was converted while still at Willem II. Shortly after, he left the club for Groningen, before moving to Celtic in 2013, then Southampton in 2015, and finally Liverpool in 2018. Now Van Dijk is regarded as one of the best centre-backs in the world. Some even include him in all-time conversations, and we're pretty sure he wouldn't have achieved this much had he continued playing as a right-back. And that right-back to centre-back pipeline is crazy because Sergio Ramos also came up through that route. At Sevilla, where he started out, he was a right-back. When he went to the World Cup with 2010, he was a right-back, with Puyol and Piqué occupying the centre-back positions. But in 2010, he began to switch to a centre-back because of an injury to Pepe at Real Madrid, and in no time at all, he owned the position. Now the man is referred to as one of the greatest centre-backs ever. Now would you look at that? And yeah, we mentioned Gerard Piqué in there somewhere. Would you believe he too wasn't always a centre-back? And you won't believe this, but he actually started as a right-back too. What is this about right-back to centre-back routes? Piqué's first career league start came in March 2006 in a game for Man United against West Ham. That day, he played as a right-back because Gary Neville was absent due to injury. Piqué was just 19 at the time. Then he went to Real Zaragoza on loan in 2006, playing as a defensive midfielder as well. But he was later permanently converted into a centre-back, and he went on to win the World Cup and multiple Champions League titles playing in that position. Now, enough of these defenders. Did you know that Mo Salah started out as a left-back? Yes, back when he was trying to make his way up in Egypt, he was deployed in the left back position. Saeed El-Shishini was the youth coach responsible for moving Salah from left back to right wing after he noticed how good the kid was at dribbling. Now, we're so sure Salah and almost every single Liverpool fan is grateful for that decision that was made by Saeed so many years ago. Now, one of the most surprising ones in this video has to be Bruno Fernandes. Would you believe that the man actually started out as a centre-back? And it appears that he was good in that position because Porto offered him a contract when he was just a kid, but he rejected them and moved to Boa Vista instead. It wasn't until 2009, during his loan spell at Pastelera, that Bruno was converted into an attacking midfielder. He was just 15 at the time, but he was so good in that position that just 2 years later, he secured his first deal to go play abroad after signing for Novara in Italy. Now, more than a decade after that conversion, Bruno Fernandes is one of the most prolific attacking midfielders in the world. So, earlier in the video, we asked you guys to guess which other World Cup Golden Glove winner was converted from an outfield possession. Did you guess Emi Martinez? Well, if you did, you're wrong. The answer is the great Gianluigi Buffon. Yes, he is one of the greatest goalkeepers of all time, but he actually didn't start out as a keeper. Buffon was a midfielder at the beginning of his career at Parma, but he watched the legendary Thomas Nkono do his thing between the sticks for Cameroon at the 1990 World Cup, and he made up his mind to become a goalie just like his idol. An opportunity presented itself when both Parma youth keepers were injured, so Buffon stepped into the goal. He adapted to the new role so quickly that in just 2 weeks, he became the Parma youth team's first choice goalie. Buffon was just 12 when he made that huge decision to switch. Little did he know that he would grow up to become one of the greatest ever footballers in that new position he had chosen. Do you know of more players who became successful after switching their positions? Drop some names in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss any videos, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.